When I think of strong mix-up tools in this game that I don't want to deal with, I generally think of like Rashid's level 2, JP's level 2, and to a lesser extent, Jury's level 2. These are moves that put you in strike, throw, high-low mix-up scenarios, or you got to burn yourself out to deal with them if you don't even want to make the guess. But they are supers at the end of the day, right? They use 2 bars, and if you've ever played this game, you know that going into the 3rd round with level 3, like if a Luke player has level 3 versus if he has just level 1, that's a big difference. A level 3 Luke, well, it's like a 2-touch game. He hits you once, he goes into super, he lands one more hit, and it's kind of over from there if he has full drive gauge. Level 3 is very scary, so they're giving up a decent amount on the gamble that they will build another level 2, which most of the time they do, which kind of sucks. But in the event that they don't, they're at a big disadvantage in that last round. That's what makes those level 2s somewhat balanced. The real advantage of those level 2s, though, is that they make you make decisions very rapidly. Like Rashid's tornado is coming up, you blocked an overhead, he's going to come back through, you got to see if he's going to throw, are you going to tech, are you going to block? Like, it makes you make decisions very quickly. It puts a lot of pressure on the defender. Today, however, we are not talking about level 2s. We're talking about something that is meterless, that still puts you in high-low strike-throw scenario, and it can kind of loop into itself if you want it to, and that is Chun-Li's stomp safe jumps in the corner. And I want to talk about it because I've been using it a lot. I think it's really fun if you're on offense, and it's really annoying on defense if you don't know what's coming. And even if you do know what's coming, sometimes it still feels like bullshit. To set up the safe jump, you have to be exactly plus 45 on a knockdown. There's a couple ways you can get into that. One is EX spinning bird kick into medium legs. That'll leave you right at plus 45. You can also do drive rest stand medium punch, back heavy punch, heavy legs, light legs. That'll also leave you right at 45. That kind of auto sets up your safe jump into stomp. The one that you probably see the most is this. See how it whiffed there? This one's a little bit harder because you'll see in a second. This is plus 45, but if you delay a little bit too long, you'll be plus 46. Wow, that one was plus 45. I'm suffering from success. Hold on. This one plus 40. Damn, I'm too good. Okay, I practiced fucking it up a little bit. This is what happens if you're plus 46. See how she just falls flat on the ground? She doesn't go back up for like the re-jump to get the actual mix-up. You just fall back on the ground. If that's happening to you, it's because you're messing up that setup and you're delaying the second stomp a little bit too long. In the corner, you have to be a little bit faster than you want to be. In mid-screen, you can delay it so much, and it's fine because you're not going for the safe jump stomp. If you're, like, on the flip side, if you're playing against a Chun-Li who's doing that, he's messing up the setup. Like, I don't know what counterplay you'll have to that. Like, if you perfect parry that stomp, she's going to fall to the ground, so you can probably get a punish. If you perfect parry the first stomp and she did it right, she's going to rebounce back up, and you kind of have to, like, figure out what your option is for your character when it comes to that. I think you can probably just DP if you're really fast, otherwise just block. So now that you know how to set it up, let's talk about the actual like offensive capability of this mix-up. You see right there, if I set it up properly, I can go up, I can do a stomp, and then she does that little re-jump. She bounces up, and in that time, you can press a jumping attack. So the stomp itself is not an overhead. The stomp itself is a high. It can be blocked crouching or standing, but if somebody blocks that crouching, generally, they are going to stay crouching if they don't know the setup, and they will get hit every single time by a jump heavy kick. That is a big starter, as well as the fact that you can just go into another way to get into the setup and loop it, right? It's very strong against people who don't block or don't know how to block this particular mix-up. But if they do know how to block or they know how to parry, that's the second thing they'll start to do. If somebody gets hit by it and they're like, I don't know how to block this, I don't even want to try and block it, I'm going to hold parry, you can just stomp and then empty stomp, and then you just throw them. And they can't get out of the parry fast enough to tech usually. They just eat a counter hit throw. So we got the overhead option, right? So you can do stomp into this. That's your overhead option. And if they choose to try and parry that, you can do stomp and then you can throw. But what if they just stand block? Like, what if they just block the stomp standing and then they just stay stand blocking for the heavy kick, the jump heavy kick? Well, then you can do stomp into a low, and then you do something like that. That was crouch light kick, stand light punch, and you can go into EX legs, you can go into light legs, or if you're really cracked, you can do stand jab into spinning bird kick, but that takes a little bit of expert knowledge. I would look up a YouTube video on how to do that because I can't teach you this video. The other question you might have is, what if the other player just is consistently perfect parrying that first stomp? Like, they're just got your timing, they know how to perfect parry this, and you're not really getting any reward out of your safe jump, well, what you can do is just empty jump. You don't even have to do the stomp. Just empty jump and then throw, and then you get a punish counter throw again. That's kind of the cool thing about this setup, is that it has an answer to almost everything that your opponent wants to do if you can figure out what they want to do. They kind of have to go through their Rolodex of defensive options to beat it, and it calls out like a lot of things that people like to do, which is kind of just autopilot defending, like, oh, I'm just gonna down back, okay, I blocked the stomp, oh shit, I got hit by an overhead. And then once you call that out, they're like, okay, I'm gonna parry, and then it kind of ends there. Like, not a lot of people go any further than that, right? They don't really recognize fast enough that they need to just stand block to get to the next option. They just get stuck between those two, and you can kind of you know, beat them between those two options. So that's what I find fun about it. That's why I wanted to share it. I hope I don't know, I hope it helped you figure out how to defend against it if you don't play Chun, or gave you some idea of how to even set it up in the training mode. I know that can be a challenge in itself because we don't have like replay takeover. You kind of just have to open the replay and look at the inputs and try and figure out how they did it. And if you get hit by the one that I showed you earlier that ends in plus 46, it's even harder to set up because you're like, why is she not bouncing back up? Like, what am I even messing up? So I hope it helped people who play Chun. I hope it helped people who are trying to play against Chun. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing. I'll talk to you again real soon.